Hi, good evening on day 98 of our 99 days. Almost the last one. So, what to talk about, you might ask. And I obviously did ask myself. And I just switched on Facebook after a nice weekend on the coast. Came back home. And I thought the first thing I'm going to see is what I'm going to talk about. And I saw this really nice video of Bentinho Massado, and I followed him quite intensely for 2 or 3 years, and actually lost him for quite a while actually because his energy felt different to me and less aligned, and at the same time also his teachings were all familiar to me and integrated to the level I needed to integrate it. So I um, I saw this video and I clicked on it because a dear Facebook friend of mine liked it, and I was curious why he would like this video. So, and this video was called Bliss Out, and I talked about this before, and I think it's a good one to also end almost with one day left. I know, but almost end these 99 days with. And blissing out is like literally letting go of anything that holds you back and really raise your frequency to the highest vibration very consciously. So to actually refuse to go down in any way. And I've shared on this before a few times. And I think ultimately it's just actually the only way and the only thing that really it's the fastest way to go forward. And that doesn't mean that it's not showing you what holds you back, because when you have to bliss out, it's like blissing out is like the state you might recognize when you are having a few glasses of alcohol and you're dancing and you feel like more free and you kind of like care less what other people think about you, so you feel literally more free to show yourself. And most of us don't do that, and I'm a very good example of that. All my life, that spontaneity is one of my biggest challenges, to really show myself always in a way I like to show myself. Not because I'm consciously holding myself back, but because I'm so used to holding myself back, I don't even often know what it actually is to be spontaneous. So I really have to be conscious, spontaneous first in order to feel the spontaneity. Actually, yeah, it kind of becomes like conscious choice, and then it comes natural after that first little step, little hiccup for me. But even if this is not your theme, we still like all go through the motions and don't really go consciously go into this state of like, I just share what I want to share or show what I want to show without even holding myself back despite the circumstance where I am, despite what other people might think of me. We hardly ever do that. We don't go out on the street and just be very happy and cheerful unless there is a reason that other people understand why we are, like winning a football game like a world championship, or actually today we lost, so might be a bad example, but if something happens like that, so is it something that everybody understands, then we have no reservations or less reservations to show this pure happiness. And the other reason why we also hold back, that if I show my pure happiness, I might give the feeling to other people that they're less happy, and I am actually unconsciously holding back so that they don't feel their unhappiness or they don't feel less happy than me. So we actually kind of hold each other in this state of not showing too much, because we might step on each other's toes, or we might make the other feel more comfortable than he or she might be feeling. And it's all assumptions, it's all interpretations, because and we all kind of copycatting each other in this way. So if he or she is not doing that, I'm not doing that. And I'm not saying that none of you is showing spontaneity or showing themselves purely. But there's definitely a difference between just being spontaneous because it comes natural to you, or being really pure and show yourself in that moment how you would like to show yourself in a higher frequency. Really feel blissful and show that. Um, and I honestly must admit, I don't show it very often. It comes more easy for me when I'm in a retreat and surrounded by people who kind of feel the same. So it's kind of this permission slip to show. But if I'm surrounded by people who don't show that, I adjust myself and show less and just feel this happiness within without even showing it outside, which is ridiculous because if I do show it, I know it works contagiously. I know other people, it will make people more happy. But somehow I feel, I don't know if you feel that, and please react to this one. You're kind of like, um, yeah, holding yourself back. Sorry, got this phone call. You're kind of holding yourself back not to make the other person uncomfortable. So there's two good reasons actually to step into your happiness consciously, to raise your frequency consciously. Don't let yourself go down, even if it feels a little tough today or yesterday or the day before, or it will feel a little tough tomorrow. Then sit with that shortly and take deep breath, and then consciously raise your frequency, very consciously, by aligning within, feeling your heart, feeling that power you have within, feeling that love you have, and try to amplify that. And that's actually um, the whole story about these 99 days. Um, Basically, that's actually all there is to it. It's kind of a nice summary, actually, come to think about it. And if you do raise your frequency, and if you feel like you hesitated expressing it in that moment, then you can ask yourself, what's holding me back? Why do I feel uncomfortable? And then there's already a beautiful insight for yourself, which kind of comes um, into the area of lack beliefs. And then that's the time to just, well, hopefully say to yourself, well, I choose not to believe that lack belief right now. Go back into bliss or go back into happiness. And having said all this, and having said the past few days about it's all inclusive, the good and the bad things, this is not contradictory. This is like just adding things. No, not adding. It's just like um, by no resistance to the things that are intense and heavy, you immediately shift in your frequency. So that's why it needs to be all inclusive to lose all that resistance within ourselves. Resistance is really the only thing that really holds us back, because everything, whether you're guilty, whether you feel resentment, whether you feel pain, to release that is why it's so difficult to release it, is because you feel resistance to releasing it. Because you still benefit from it, ultimately. Um, and I shared about that one a week ago or something. So, you all have enough insights on yourself. You all have enough to work with, and you might go through deeper pains now because a lot has opened up. So this message might come too early for you because you're right now kind of in such a low vibration that it's hard to see this perspective. But just make a note or watch this one later. I will keep the videos on for at least until beginning of September. So there's enough time to rewatch the videos you would like to see again. And but even if you're in a low state now, just try to let it sink in, let it just open up to this idea of just raising your frequency and showing your bliss. So bliss out, as Bentinho says. and it's a good practice for me as well. It really is a good practice because I tend to really hold myself back in that way, and tend to be this calm, kind of reserved, no, not really reserved, but calm, friendly person. And earlier today, I was actually planning on kind of making a summary of all these, kind of like make the last 5 big reminders that you should not forget moving onwards after these 99 days. And I might want to do that tomorrow, give that with you, or just post them as 5 pointers into the group so you can read it yourself. So, yeah, not much to share today. So I might just sit in silent here today to just bliss out silently here because I feel really, really good and refreshed after 2 days at the beach. With not too much good weather, but it was nice. It was nice enough to be out there and be outside with the feet in the sand, which felt really good. And I realized again that gratefulness for everything I have is already such elevating process. So that I mean, this gratefulness immediately shifts your energy. It releases everything that holds you back in that moment already, like feeling a little bit annoyed or irritated or whatever comes up, and then you just be grateful what's there already in your life, and then it just shifts. And I've said that I think a couple of days ago as well, but it's a very good one, an easy one to get into this higher frequency, very easy one. So let's stop assuming what other people need or want, and it's their responsibility to tell if they feel unhappy and need support, or if they are annoyed with you blissing out. Well, then it's their responsibility. Let's stop assuming that we know what another person needs or wants. Of course, doing it in a good way and in a gentle way. So, and I can't say it enough times. Just um, looking at your pain and your lack beliefs is good from a pure energy perspective. But more than that, don't make the story any bigger than that. Don't relive the past. I had a nice followed a nice chat and contributed to a chat on that on Facebook. If you need to relive a trauma in order to heal it, and it's different for everyone, but in my experience, you don't have to relive a trauma to heal it. On the contrary, I think it only increases the story. It only increases that you relive actually what already happened. So you relive the pain, and you're actually amplifying the pain instead of releasing it. It's all it is just energy. So it's feeling, sensing, and blissing out. That's the big summary. Funny. And it feels good to me that I'm coming back on this day to a sharing about Pantio Masari, as he was a very great teacher to me. He showed me a lot on especially the insights on the art of living, because he's so detailed in explaining how things work. He's a bit extreme in his vision, less down to earth as I am. But nevertheless, it was very good to rephrase his teachings into something that I think is aligned to more people, or practical aligned. Okay, I'm going to leave you with this one, and I'll see you back tomorrow on the final day. Bye.